enjoy both of them?
No.
Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome.
They're saying this great bit that we rehearsed, however, we've never done it before. It's just, Rocky and I talked back and forth a little bit and realized, even though he's from New York, I'm from Youngstown, Ohio, we both had very similar upbringings. We thought it was just kind of funny.
Yeah, we did, and we talked about food and the holidays and all of that kind of stuff, and talked about, my Italian life and how much she's like my mom. We had an issue with the floor. It was a little bit streaky, so she cleaned it, she mopped it, she steamed it. Wasn't done to her satisfaction. We proceed over the next 10 days to have 6 different steamers delivered from Amazon. And then when the steamer was no good, then it got sent over to customer service, which is basically the laundry room in my house, where it got packed up and sent back to Amazon. But this is just like my mom. My mom was the exact same way. How about you? You had an Italian mom?
Like I said, I'm only half Italian. I had an Italian dad. I had a Polish mom.
So she didn't know she was married to an Italian.
She knew. The first time she made sauce for the in-laws. The Italians coming over, they came over on the big boat. She's making sauce for them for the very first time. It wasn't thick enough. So she used the Polish thickening agent, flour. It did not go well. She never got along with the in-laws from that point on. And why do they call it customer service anyway? The reason the word associate starts with the first 3 letters that it does is because the person you get on the phone you call customer service.
That's right, they're an ass.
Yes.
So, Ben, how is the pizza and the pastries and the cookies in Youngstown, Ohio?
When it came to the pastries and things like that, everything was homemade, which was fantastic. The pizza, we had a Little Italy shop in our plaza, and I remember the first time that a Pizza Hut opened up in that same plaza. It did not go well for them. How about you?
Well, we had the unfortunate circumstance of Pizza Hut trying to open a place up in Staten Island, which is called Staten Italy. And, you can't swing the dead cat in Staten Island without hitting a great pizzeria. They decided to open up a Pizza Hut. The first week, the line was around the block. The second week, there was no line. There were no customers. The third week, it was closed. You can't drop a Pizza Hut into an Italian neighborhood. Ain't going to work.
It was terrible. We tried it, and what is this? The ends of the pizza didn't flop over. It didn't have any grease dripping off the end of it. Didn't have a puddle to dip the crust in afterwards. That wasn't pizza.
And the cheese wasn't stretched enough, so it dropped off the slice, hit the chin, and made a blister right here.
The good old days.
Yeah.
Hard to find.
You can't. We found good pizza down here. In fact, we went tonight. The 6 of us went. We polished off a couple of pizzas and a nice salad. And Tina had ravioli. She wanted the child-sized portion, but she ended up getting the adult-sized portion. And surprisingly, put it all away because she can't eat good Italian food, right, Tina?
Thanks for the invitation. Appreciate that.
No problem.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, next time.
Well, next time you could drive an hour south. We'll have pizza, then drive back an hour north, and we'll do another shop.
Oh, now you go with the guilty like the Italian does, like the old time. We also talked about Christmas and how special Christmas was. And again, even though we were separated, we had very similar Christmases. When you hear about the furniture having the plastic on it, that's true.
It is.
And my family, my grandmother had the white Christmas tree with the red bulbs on it, the big red bulbs, right next to the picture of Elvis.
So we had a silver Christmas tree with a spotlight underneath with the revolving color disc. This was high tech in the early 60s.
Oh, you were rich.
We were loaded.
Yeah.
We didn't have a picture of Elvis. We had Jesus Christ and Joe DiMaggio. And Joe DiMaggio was a little bit higher because he did have a 61-game hitting streak.
I'll take your word for it. With the Cleveland Indians, we really didn't have anything.
No, you had nothing good to look back on.
So good.
Janice is from Cleveland.
And she still smiles because she's not there anymore.
Yeah, and she has the drug habit, so she's, she's a little numb.
You can't tell her eyes aren't that dilated. Very nice.
So what about Christmas Eve? I know in my household, we basically used to clean out the Atlantic Ocean. I remember like as a 10-year-old sitting with my mother and cleaning like 12 pounds of shrimp, a dozen lobster. My dad was cracking clams open. We just cooked for 3 days for one 5-hour period of immense gluttony. Did you have a similar experience?
Why, no, Rocky, it wasn't similar like that at all, actually.
What was it like?
My father wanted to be a chef, a cook for Christmas. He would try something different every year. And so instead of the Feast of the Fishes, we had the spaghetti sauce with the octopus.
Oh,
Except he didn't know how to skin an octopus. It took him like 6 hours to do that. And then, when us kids first saw these sucker cups in the sauce, that was it. We couldn't eat that at all. It was horrible. So we went back to regular lasagna, ravioli after that.
well,
So we're not the Italians, only you're Italian. We're a little bit different.
a little bit different. I think, depending on where you are in the U.S. regionally, where your people come from Italy, it's always going to be just a little bit different. What about Easter? Did you have any Easter traditions?
We didn't really have any Easter traditions, except that my parents used to take us to church every Sunday. And because we were Catholic, it was the thing to do. And when I say take us to church, I mean they would go to church, drop us off, and then leave. And that way they would have some free time to, I guess, argue with each other. That's what they did. So they drop us off, we go to Mass, and then we go to catechism class. I call it catechism class because they put the fear of God in you if you don't obey the 10 Commandments.
That's right.
And I actually had my first sip of wine ever from one of the youth pastors, youth priests. It didn't go any further than that. No, it wasn't like that at all.
Yeah. The first wine I had, I was an altar boy, and we used to steal it from the sacristy and drink that wine. But I remember one Christmas Eve, the Italian guy, the off-the-boat Italian guy from next door made his own homemade wine. And he brought over a gallon of Dago Red. So I was about 15, and I was sitting next to my grandfather. I said, Grandpa, let me taste a little bit. He gave me a little glass of it. I drank it. I need a little more. He gave it to me. I went inside. I laid in bed. And the next thing I knew, my mom was waking me up for Christmas Day dinner. I mean, it was like an anesthetic.
My father was an altar boy, except he was kind of like the shyster kind of altar boy. Because an altar boy had to go and do confessions pretty often. And so one day he goes to confession and he says, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I stole a pumpkin." And then on the way back, he took the pumpkin. He knew he was going to steal it on the way to confession, confessed that he took it, and took it on the way back. He was always looking for the angle.
So it was a lot of fun growing up in Brooklyn Italian, playing stickball, and we'd go down there for $1. You could go down to the store, you could get 2 slices of pizza, a quarter each, a soda for a quarter, and an Italian ice. And then we used to go into the Five and Dime store and steal a Spalding. You know what a Spalding is?
Yes, a tennis ball.
Get those little rubber balls. We used to play stickball with them. And so before we went down to the avenue for lunch, we roofed all of them because you're playing in the street. We hit them onto the roof. So we get $1 from our moms, go down and we buy pizza, and then we go into the Five and Dime store and steal a new ball so we could play stickball the rest of the day. Little bastards we were.
We actually had grass where I grew up, and so we didn't do stickball.
What's grass? We used to roll grass.
Different neighborhood.
Different grass.
Even though you talk about the mafia families, we had a mafia guy come to our house because everybody knew somebody who knew somebody. We didn't know the person, but we knew the person who knew the person. My father told them that we were moving to Arizona. He came over to the house to talk to my dad about why he was leaving, but then was very happy he was going to Arizona because there was a guy that he wanted to find. And then he saw us kids kind of looking at them. He said, "Oh, no, don't worry. We're not going to kill him. We're just going to break his thumbs." He was serious. And then for some reason, we go to Arizona, we went right down to Florida, and my father never really went back to Ohio again. I don't know why. I didn't explain.
Have to stay out of Ohio. It's almost as dangerous as being in Brooklyn, especially the Italian neighborhoods. Where did Dean Martin grow up in Ohio? Steubenville, Ohio.
Not too far away from Youngstown area.
Yeah.
We used to play them in football.
Yeah. So, Pat, how about growing up in Jersey?
We call it great.
You call it gravy. Yeah, we call it sauce. Even my shirt says we call it sauce. Italian Lives Matter, because who's going to make the sauce?
I tease my wife because her father's Italian, and he was making the gravy also. And then I used to date this girl who her family made lasagna. They were German, but they made it with cottage cheese instead of cottage cheese. I go, no, it's ricotta cheese. No, it's cottage cheese. And no.
No, I don't know if I could go on. I'm just nauseated by the thought.
Exactly.
Cottage cheese and lasagna, that's just awful. How about, is anybody a fan of stuffed calamari? Have you ever had it stuffed? I know you get the fried grains here, very American. They give it to you with tomato sauce. For Christmas Eve, we would make the whole squid stuffed in sauce, not gravy, and served with linguine. This was a good dish. You ever had that?
I tried to do the stuffed calamari. I tried to stuff the calamari the other night, but my wife said no.
No. That's because she's had that neck thing done and she can't really move around a lot, right? So it's a little bit.
You're a little personal there, Rocky. You're a little personal there. Well, I did date an Italian girl once, and I learned that there's more than one meaning to the term thumb screws. You know, it's kind of a mafia dating.
Yeah. Well, you can't date an Italian girl without taking a beating or two, either from her brothers or her uncles. Somebody's going to get you in the end.
Yes, they will.
Right. So, any questions from the audience about Italian in Brooklyn, Italian in Ohio? Huh? You want to share recipes?
They are so intrigued.
Wait, we have a question in the front.
Mr. Zane.
Zane got used to being singled out earlier. So Zane, go ahead.
Weren't you in One Direction?
There is no pineapple on pizza.
No pineapple on pizza.
The only place they do this is in California. A real Italian takes a personal affront to pineapple on pizza. It just doesn't belong.
Absolutely, I agree with 100%, but it tastes pretty good.
Yeah, for you it's a given growing up in California. You're used to, you're on your surfboard eating your pizza with pineapple on it,
Avocado?
Like someone said earlier, in the land of fruits and nuts. Yeah, and I got a joke for you guys, if you'll indulge me a second. It's about the 4 stages of marriage. Do you have a similar perspective on marriage?
I don't know. All
right,
4 stages are.
So the first stage is newlywed. This is when you have that playful banter and the sexual innuendo all the time. Can't keep your hands off of each other. You go through 2-3 mattresses in the first year. The second stage is happy. The frequency of the sex is good, but what you end up with is, what are you doing to mommy? I hear a screaming. What are you doing? Get off of mommy. I hear it. Get off. The third stage is reality. You look at each other, you're feeling amorous, you run to the bedroom, you rip your clothes off, and you just crack up because, well, gravity's a bitch. The final stage is called reality. This is when that playful banter of your youth is now turned into a bit of bickering, and you're just going at it all the time. But you still have sex. I call it hallway sex. You walk by each other and go, fuck you. You had a similar experience?
Well, I know, Rock.
All right, I feel Susie lurking somewhere.
Thank you all so much for indulging us.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Buonanotte a tutti.
Tutti frutti.
That means get out.